it's me, Gabby. Welcome back. Today we're watching a video about a dad who uses his son to get girls. Talk about a wingman. Like, why not a brother or a best friend? Let's see why.
If there is such a thing as the world's worst dad award, my dad no doubt would be the one to get it. He was the most selfish, self-centered, antisocial person ever. My mom was out of the picture ever since I was not even a toddler, which meant it was just me and my dad. And no, I didn't have any chance of doing the usual father-son stuff with him, like playing baseball or watching football together.
Bonding.
He was hence the worst, not only because he didn't give me any time, but also because he used me and took advantage of me. He used me to get girls ever since I was a kid. But before we move on, like this video, hit that subscribe button and activate the notification bell. And luck will follow you like a truck. Trust me, it works. Let me explain. When I was a kid, my dad would hire a new nanny every month. I know that doesn't sound very fishy, but it happened every month.
What? Every month? Like January, February, March, April, May, June, etc. Every single month. That's a lot of firing. Or did he get bored easily?
Like a ritual without a break. One time, before my last nanny disappeared, something strange happened. I was around 14 at the time. I had just got back home from school and wanted a snack. I saw my nanny in the living room, so I went to request her to make me one. Myra, would you make me a snack? I asked. Why would I? I don't know you. Where am I?
What? Wait, so I don't know you. Where am I? Who am I? Does she have Alzheimer's? How can you not know the little boy that you always make lunch for and take care of? It doesn't make sense.
She said and stormed out of the house as fast as she could. Weird, right? I know. That was why that event specifically stayed in my memory. For a few years after that, everything was fine until one day. I was about to go out of the house to play basketball with some friends when my dad suddenly stopped me at the door. I have something to talk to you about, he said, so I came back in. What is it? I asked.
That gets everyone
I
nervous.
was just thinking maybe he wanted me to bring in some groceries, but what he asked of me shocked me completely.
What was it?
I want you to get me girls, he said without a bit of hesitation. Now, my dad was not the making a joke type, so I knew he was serious.
Hold on. What? Is your son a puppy? Like, trust me, I know that puppies are chick magnet. But why your son? You don't have like a brother, a best friend, a coworker, someone who isn't your son who can go get you some girls? Or why can't he do it himself? Or does he not have the game to spit on his own? I just don't understand.
No, Dad, I would never do anything like that, I replied as I was annoyed. But then he started speaking as if he was blackmailing me. You do that or you don't have a home anymore. You're not going to get a penny from me.
That's so extreme. No house, no food, no money, no clothes, because you won't get me a girl. Jeez.
He said and left. Do you guys see what happened here? I was left without a choice. I had to do everything that he asked. He demanded girls with specific features, like the girls had to have red curly hair and had to be over 5'7" in height. Just for that reason, he made a couple of fake IDs that gave me access to clubs.
Wait. I'm not gonna lie, to some people that's a come up.
Yeah.
But this dad is encouraging his son to have a fake ID, which is super illegal, all for the sake of girls. This cannot be right. It doesn't make sense. Why?
That was how it went. I pretended to be older than my actual age and entered bars. There, I met with girls that met my father's taste. I talked with them for a while and asked them to come home with me. It might seem like I'm bluffing, but I never used force on any of the girls I brought home.
Good.
Thanks to my handsome, soft, and humble looks, they would just be ready to come with me without any
Modest.
question.
Modest.
After bringing them home, I left them in the living room as my dad had instructed and went up to my room. I had no idea what happened after that. It was just a huge dark blank in my mind, and honestly, I wanted to keep it that way.
That's creepy.
That was why I never questioned my dad about what exactly he needed the girls for. I just went out and got them home twice a week. However, I didn't always pick the girls up from the bars. Sometimes I would make a trip to the beach for that, or sometimes the public park.
Wait, so like, if your dad says, you know, the typical saying, jump off a bridge, you do it no question, no hesitation. You're just gonna jump. I'm sorry, but if you're asking me to do something, I have questions, and I'm gonna need my answers. And come on, cough it up. I need the deets. And if you don't give them to me, peace.
It was easier because of my good looks and sweet talking. But the girls that I picked up, they weren't attractive to me at all. Not even one. They were just for my dad. One day, I was in the park looking for a girl to take home when suddenly I saw a girl sitting by herself enjoying a sandwich. She was so beautiful that she just blew my mind away at the first glance. I couldn't resist, but approached her and talked. "I'm Edna," she said with her soft and soothing voice.
Edna mode. That's all I can think of when I hear Edna. Sorry to all the Ednas out there, but you remind me of a Disney character, hands down. And look at him thinking she's cute with all those crumbs on her face. Adorable. True love.
And I also introduced myself. She had the most beautiful eyes, and her hair was red and curly, but short. We talked for a long time, and suddenly I realized what I was there for. However, I just couldn't bring myself to take her for my dad. So I just got her number and came back home without a girl. And you might have already guessed that my father was furious. Like a madman when I showed up alone. "You're not getting any money this week, or food," he said, but I just ignored him and went straight to my room. Honestly, I couldn't care less as my head was in the clouds because of the girl I had just met. After getting to my room, I locked the door, jumped on my bed, and started chatting with her on the phone. She was the first and only girl I had ever liked, so I was naturally talking with her all the time.
So smitten.
And then one thing led to the other, and we eventually started dating as she had the same feeling for me. Around that time, I completely stopped getting girls for my dad because, first, I didn't like it, and second, I wanted to invest all my time in Edna, which she deserved. She was such a good influence in my life, like an angel. I was just falling deeply in love with her. One day, Edna and I were on one of our regular dates when suddenly we felt like we were being followed. First, a shaky-looking car was tailing us on the way, and then some guy with black overalls on was suspiciously walking behind us when we were strolling around the park. However, after some time, the guy just walked away, so we ignored the whole situation.
If you ever feel eyes behind you and they feel stalky, do not ignore them. Those are literally your survival instincts. Do not ignore that, ever, because you never know. We live in a crazy world, people, but I trust this guy to have used his best judgment.
That day when I went home, my dad was waiting for me in the living room. I was trying to go straight to my room, but he stopped me and called me over. And again, he started up with bringing him the girls and all that nonsense. "Dad, how long are you planning to use me like this? First the nannies when I was young, and now all this?" I said in anger. "I want you to get me one, specifically this one. Otherwise, you can get out of my house and never come back," he said.
Okay, Scar from The Lion King, leave Simba and never return. Like, bro, how are you gonna alienate your son like that? Banish him from the Pride Lands? He didn't even do nothing to you. Let my boy be who he is, how he wants to be, with who he wants to be, doing what he wanna do. Dang.
And passed me a picture. When I saw who was in the picture, I was so shocked and angry that
my
my
God.
blood literally started to boil. It was Edna, and the picture was taken on our date. It finally made sense to me that my dad was the one stalking us on our date.
No.
It made me so angry. There was no way I was going to give Edna to my dad. She was my girlfriend. "You're just shameless, aren't you? You're trying to take away the one person in this world that makes me happy," I screamed at him. Without thinking any further, I went up to my room, grabbed my things, and stormed out of the house.
That's despicable.
But just as I got out, I got a notification on my phone. It was a text from Edna. "Have you seen the news recently?" it read. "No, why?" I replied. She immediately called me and told me that there was a sketch of a person that looked just like me all over the news. "The police are looking for you. They're saying you've kidnapped girls. What's going on?" she said and started crying and demanding me to explain. "I'll explain everything, but you have to meet me first," I told her, and she agreed.
Right.
She immediately picked me up in her car, and from there, we made our way to a motel. There, I sat down and explained how my dad had been using me all my life to get girls. He used me to get nannies when I was a child, and then to lure them to the house when I got the looks. I told her, but she said nothing and kept looking at me. "Trust me, I have no idea why he needed them. I never asked him," I told her and explained further how he had blackmailed me. "Could he possibly be a criminal?" I said to myself, worrying my heart out. "Yes," Edna said, "but he's not the worst." I was shocked. How on earth could she possibly know that, I thought.
How could she know that? I mean, he sounds pretty criminal-like to me. Girls are being kidnapped, going missing, and it's not one or two, not even three. It's more than likely hundreds. I'd be freaking creeped out. I wouldn't even know who to trust anymore. Should I trust my own shadow? Do I trust my dad, my dog, my fish? Don't trust the fish, bro.
But I didn't have to think for long because she told me what was really going on. I was hired by the FBI and knew all about you and your father before I crossed paths with you in the park, she said, and my heart just sank. She told me that the FBI had been investigating you and my father for a long time. We thought both of you were guilty at first, but as I got to know you, I figured out you were innocent and just his pawn, she added. She also told me that my dad was not a life-threatening criminal. In fact, she also didn't have any idea what he did with the girls. They just knew that the girls I brought home and the nannies when I was a child were found at random places, physically unharmed, but with temporary memory loss. The FBI is on their way to arrest your dad. I'll take you there if you want, she said, and I agreed to that because I also wanted answers about what my dad was really up to. When we reached the house, I made my way in to find that my dad had already been taken in. However, an officer there started explaining the situation to me. For that, he led me to the basement, an area that my dad had restricted me from setting foot in. When I went down there, I was so shocked that I almost passed out. There was a fully equipped scientific lab down there, and I hadn't even known anything about it.
Okay, so I was dying to know what it was. And when he gets down there, it's a lab, a scientific lab. Imagine you wake up one morning and turns out your dad is a mad scientist and he's kidnapping girls for his experiment and using you to kidnap them. Holy crap. I don't know what I'd do with myself. But he's not hurting them. They just lose a bit of memory, right? Right. Okay.
Even known anything about it. Turns out your dad was trying to clone people. That's why he needed people with a scientific gene set. He said and told me that my dad was a mad scientist. He also added that my dad was giving those girls memory loss tablets after taking their DNA samples and dropping them off at random locations. And for the reason that he was plain mad, they were sending him to a psychiatrist facility instead of prison. All that information was too much to take in for me, so I got out of there to get some fresh air and process everything. At that time, Edna came to me and hugged me. Well, despite everything, what we have is real, she said. And that was such a huge relief to me because I had thought I had lost her because of all the drama. After that, my life finally began to seem normal.
Aw, good.
Now that a father who made me get him girls was locked away, I started to enjoy life fully. However, despite everything my dad put me through, I still went to visit him at the asylum sometimes. He was my dad after all. But one day, something strange happened. I was in one of those visits with my dad when he suddenly pulled me to the side and started whispering something in my ear. I didn't hear it clearly at first, but then I finally understood. Be careful. They're watching you. They'll get to you and me. Be careful.
Creepy.
He said in a panicky tone with tears in his eyes. And after that, the visitation time was over. A few days later, I got a call from the asylum telling me my dad had disappeared and was nowhere to be found, and asked me to call them if I got any information.
That is mad stealthy. So not only is he a mad scientist, he's a mad stealthy genius. Because let me tell you, I don't think breaking out of an insane asylum is easy. Unless you maybe try to jump out the window, which I'm sure has bars. Because you're not getting out of there, okay? I'm pretty sure. Where could he have gone? How did he even do it? And is he gonna reunite with his son? That's what I'm wondering.
It got me thinking, did someone make my dad do all those things? I mean, he was getting money without any source of earning. Was he working on someone's order? Did they take him from the asylum to complete the experiment?
What do you guys think he was doing with the clones? Would you help your mom or dad get guys or girls? Leave your answers down in the comments below. See you next time. Bye.